If you're a dog owner, you know that pups are quite the scent sniffers. They can find virtually any food or animal or person no matter where they are. Under the couch? Sure. On top of the counter? Absolutely. In a deep wooded area? As you're about to find out, yep. A group of guys headed off to a cabin for a bachelor party retreat, and one of them brought their dog along naturally. What happens next ruined their weekend plans altogether, but it made for a great story. Soon after the fellas got to their cabin, they were settling in nicely. All of a sudden, one of them saw the dog take off running out of nowhere. She was transfixed on an area in the woods and wouldn't let it go. She wouldn't go back to the cabin without further investigation. If you've ever stayed in a cabin in the middle of nowhere before, you know that it can get constricting. The dog hadn't even been at the cabin for more than 3 hours before it caught the scent of something. For a dog, being out in the woods is an absolute dream. When your dog takes off and starts to sprint in a certain direction, good luck catching it. This is what leashes are for. In the deep woods, leashes don't exist. It took a few minutes for the guys to catch up to the pup. When they did, they noticed something very weird. By the time they got to the dog, she wouldn't leave this boat. They tried to coax her away with treats and sticks. She wouldn't budge. The dog was trying to dig underneath the boat to get to something, but what was it? The guys were actually afraid of what could possibly be in there. This is how every horror movie starts. A remote area near a cabin, a strange, upside-down boat in the middle of nowhere. I don't blame them for thinking a dead body could be under that thing. Fast forward a bit, and the dog couldn't get under the boat enough to fully flip it over. The guys were hesitant to even open the boat. Ignorance is bliss with this kind of stuff, but the dog was too persistent and wouldn't leave. So they lifted up the one side of the boat, and it was the best possible surprise of all time. 2 of the cutest kittens. You might think that the dog was smelling out her enemies. I mean, it's just a fact that dogs and cats historically don't get along. The guys stared in awe of the little kittens, but there were so many questions to be answered. They couldn't believe what they found. The men had no way of knowing any of the backstory. Why were they under the boat? How long have they been there? Where is their mom? Were they abandoned by their former human owners? The guys had to make a quick decision as to how they were going to handle this situation. One thing was for sure, the kittens were in great shape. If they weren't dirty, or unclean, or smelly, they were in tip-top shape. They didn't have any injuries at all, which led the guys to believe they were just abandoned and were looking for a cozy place to call home. What was also surprising was how well their dog treated the kittens. You can never be sure how a dog will treat a kitten. They can be pretty unpredictable. Thankfully, she was very gentle and caring for the cats right off the bat. It's like she immediately went into mother mode, which is so cute. Another issue that was resolved quick was seeing how the kittens would react to the dog. But right away the 3 got along. The kittens had no fear of her and were so comfortable it was almost as if they'd be friends forever. Her maternal instincts make this story more pleasurable than it could have been. After the guys realized that their dog wasn't going to ravage these kittens, they decided to throw the boat wide open. This opened up an entirely new world for the little cats. All they wanted to do was play in the new forest that has been brought in front of them. It really didn't take long for the dog to start taking in the kittens as her own. She started licking them like their own mother would do. She was very worried about all of the dirt that could be caked on their fur. It was truly a magical moment for all the guys. This truly was life or death for these cats. If it wasn't for the dog's sense of smell leading them to the boat to begin with, who knows what would have happened to these kittens. Not only that, but the maternal instincts that kicked into gear to make the little babies feel safe and comfortable certainly helped. While the guys were thankful for the discovery, they weren't even the most excited ones. Can you guess who was more excited? It was almost as if the dog knew what she had done. It was like she knew she saved a few lives today and her tail wouldn't stop wagging. But not surprisingly, the guys had to have a little change of plans. No longer was it just a bachelor weekend in a remote cabin. They brought the little kittens to the cabin with them so that they could enjoy a nice meal at their behest. I'm sure the kittens didn't mind it. One day these kittens are trapped under a boat in the middle of a forest. The next, they're eating like kings and queens. They both got a big bowl of food that the kittens thoroughly enjoyed. They brought this meat for hamburgers and hot dogs, but instead it was used to save some lives. It turns out that the kittens were in fact abandoned there by their mother. The men ended up taking them to a vet so that they can get a checkup on their health. They wanted to make sure that there were no diseases hanging around these little felines, and the result? The moment of truth came when the vet told them that their little friends were perfect. The vet said that she was shocked at how good of shape these two were in considering where they were found. Soon after the vet trip, two of the friends ended up adopting the little kittens. Honestly, it was the perfect ending to a great story. The men enjoyed each other's company, and they even made a few new unexpected friends. As for the dog, well, she can now go to sleep feeling like she's a hero that saved a few lives. Great job to everyone involved.